thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Young, Famous, and African. This is season 2, and we're going to be reviewing episode 1 and episode 2 in this video. So let's get to it. Alright, if you can't tell, I'm so excited. And the main reason is because season 1 was so good to me. And I enjoyed like the camaraderie that was on Twitter and on like Instagram and stuff, how people were talking about Young, Famous, and African, especially when like the African community was telling the African American community like T, like when I tell y'all, they was spelling it out. They was like, no, he did this, he got a baby with her, he be doing this, she do this, she did this. I just had it was like such a community key. Like all of us were like, no, and y'all was giving tea, and I enjoyed it. And it's like, honestly, this show is basically Love and Hip Hop, just the African version, which I'm cool with that because it gives the old, when Love and Hip Hop was good, it was good. And this is what Young, Famous, and African gives. Like, everybody is coming to play. Like, everyone has personalities. Nobody's like afraid of confrontation. Everybody speaks up for themselves. And it's like, this is what I mean when I'm like a cast that's engaging. Like, everyone is playing, and I'm down for the ride, okay? I'm down for the ride. But let's get into this episode. So episode 1. So we open up, we're back in South Africa. We see Akani and Naked meet up. We find out that Akani and Akusi moved to Dubai. And, she's just been living her best life over in Dubai. Okay. And Naked and not Kylie. I said that. That sounds so country. Come down. It's Kaylee. I don't know why they just sound so, but I am from the South. But God, Kaylee are doing really well. They're doing really well. But you can definitely tell they're Naked and Akani are still in a good place. Like, they got brother-sister love. And I like to see them together. I really do like to see them together. We then have a scene of Zuri and Swanky. And this is how I know there's something up between Swanky and Annie, because the way Swanky was going off on Zuri last season, where they were on that train ride, where it was like an overnight train ride, and then they did like the little safari thing. He still was friends with Zuri, but he was going to stand up for Annie because that was his ride or die. And the fact that he's having this like little outing with her, and it's not like the traditional, like them just going to get drinks and eating together, lets me know that like, oh, it's trouble in paradise with Annie and Swanky. But we see Zuri, they like booked, like, closed the boutique for her to, go shopping and be with Swanky, because we know Swanky dresses down. Swanky dresses down. So he comes up late. They then start to talk, and Zuri pretty much is like, what's going on with you? And Swanky's like, no, what's going on with you? What about you and Andile? And Zuri's like, I fell in love with him. I said, girl, a lie don't care who tell it. You did not fall in love with that man. You might have fell in infatuation, but y'all weren't even communicating on that level for you to be like, I'm in love, I'm smitten with him. Girl, you like him. Just say you like him. Just instead of saying I fell in love with him, girl, you fell in like with him. Don't do that. Then Zuri lets it be known in the confessional. By the way, one of my favorite confessionals is Zuri with the head wrap in the like peachy orange outfit. She looks beautiful in that. But she tells us that like she went to an event that Swanky was having, and Annie was nowhere to be found. And that guy, the wheels are turning in Zuri's head like, oh, what is up with y'all? What is up with this? And so Swanky doesn't tell us what it is. He just says that like Annie betrayed him, and it was the highest betrayal. And like, he not feeling her right now. He chucking the deuces to her. He like, I'm out. I don't want to be cool with her no more. I don't feel it for her. We then have this like really cute scene with Andy and Akani where like, they're about to cry in public. Like, they're so excited to see each other. They even have cute little nicknames, and it's crazy how far they've come, because I remember not liking Akani in the beginning of season 1 because I just felt like she was doing too much. And she was acting like an evil villain from a cartoon character. I was like, you're doing a lot. But as you got to like, as the season progressed, I was like, okay, I like her because I figured out how the type of person she is. She is someone that has this facade, but this very like she's very strong and stoic. But if she really cares and loves and supports you, like she gonna be down, she ride or dying for you. And you can see that with her relationship with Annie. Like she couldn't stand Annie in the beginning, but now that they like this, she ride or dying for her. Like she throwing hands for her. You know what I mean? And they have cute little nicknames. Annie is called Raz, and Akani is called Bougie, and clearly it makes sense because Akani is bougie. She Miss Hasadity, and Annie is supposed to be like the girl next door, down to earth vibes. They sit down. The funniest thing about their conversation is like Akani did not believe that Annie boobs were not fake. Like Annie was like, touch them, and she grabbed her hand to touch her titties, and she was like, see, they not hard. And I don't know why they tickled me because Akani was like, girl, you, and then she kept like, you pregnant then? Like, please, God, don't tell me you pregnant. And Annie's like, no. And she's like, and I'm kind of looking at her like, you better not be. So Annie starts talking about how she's tired of the blogs, talking about she's suffering in her marriage. And I'm like, but you are, though. What we talking about, Annie? But you are, though. Then she brings up about the 7 kids. And I said, Annie trying to rewrite history. Because I remember everybody online who like knows about Annie and Tubaba's relationship was like, no. Because I remember people last season being like, no, he's had 5 kids while they've been married. And she only has like, I think the 3rd or 4th child out of all the kids he got. I said, yeah, it's not. Don't be trying to rewrite history, Annie. Because Annie was sitting down with Akani and she's like, he had those 5 kids before we got married. No. That's not what the people was telling us. The people said, y'all been married and he done had 5 kids on you while you been married. Either way, especially when they showed the picture and then they showed Annie's children, the picture of the 5 kids and then Annie's kids, they all looked around the same ages, and even a few of them looked younger than her youngest daughter. I said, girl, don't do that. Don't be trying to lie to me. Don't lie to me. So they switched conversations, and Akani's like, where's Swanky? Because last season they was attached at the hip. They was like conjoined twins. Like one was not going anywhere without the other. And she's like, I don't know. Like Annie is like very dismissive. Like she don't really want to talk about it. And Akani is looking at her the same way Zuri was looking at Swanky. Like, oh, it's something going on with y'all two. So then Annie in her confessional was saying that she feels like Swanky like distanced himself from her after all of the like scandals that were coming out about her and Tubaba's relationship. And I was like, I call BS because this is the same man who knew about this before last season and flew your husband in, and you was sitting on his lap licking his bald head. Like you were too excited to see Tubaba. So I'm just kind of like, no, ma'am, no. It has to be something that has happened for him to be like, I'm gonna ghost you, or I don't want to have any, like, I'm distancing myself from you. So then we have a scene of Nadia and Andile meeting up. It looked like they was meeting up at like a nail salon, but then I didn't see no nail tech, so I don't know where they was. I don't know. But the vibe between them felt kind of awkward. It felt really kind of awkward. But we find out that Nadia is dating a guy named AKA. Someone said online that he unfortunately was unalived. I didn't look it up to see if it was true. So I'll just say allegedly. Probably by the time I look at the episodes 3 and 4, I'll Google it and see. But if that is true, I feel really bad for her because she seems so happy. Like so happy with him. Like she felt like that was like the love of her life. So for that to happen, my heart go out to her. We find out that she used to be friends with this girl named Bonang. And Bonang, they introduced her in episode 2, which we'll talk about that. But she's pretty much like a Ryan Seacrest, Nick Cannon type of person. Like she's known to host events. And it's like if you need someone to host like an award show or like a huge party or something, you go to her. I think they also said she has like books and like a radio show and stuff like that. But Bonang and Nadia used to be real close, but then something happened. Friendship breakups are the worst. But they're not cool anymore. And Nadia just felt like she just couldn't believe that someone she looked at as her big sister would ever do what Bonang supposedly did to her. So you have Andile asking her like, well, what's up with that? Because we find out that AK used to be Bonang's boyfriend, but Nadia's like, we didn't get together until after me and her stopped being friends. Like it would like me and him being together did not ruin our friendship. We had not been friends for a long time. So then Nadia asked Andile about him and Zuri and how I told you, I told you not to mess with that lady. I told you not to mess with that lady, and see, look at how you're looking. Look at how you're looking. We then have this scene of Diamond and Naked. So in the beginning of the episode, partly like we found out that Diamond is back in South Africa after, I guess, being on tour and stuff like that. And he wants to have like a get together, inviting everybody, but he didn't tell Naked not to invite Andile because Diamond still feels some type of way after, Andile was at his baby mama's house, at Zuri's house, unannounced. And then Diamond's like, what you doing here, bro? What you doing? Like, shenanigans. So we then have a scene of Diamond and Naked talking about the party, because Naked is like, oh no, I got you, I'm gonna bring somebody here. We found out that there's a new girl in town named Fantana. No, it's like Saucy Santana, but it's Fantana. Fantana, we find out, is like a Ghanaian like dance hall singer, which I was like, that don't even sound right. And the people on the TikTok was like, I don't know who she is. So I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound right. Because normally when I hear dance hall, I think of like the Caribbeans, like Trinidad, Jamaica, like the Virgin Islands and all of that. I don't think of Africa, but that's not to say it couldn't, like there could not be dance hall there. But I'm just like, I don't know about that, sis. And she's fairly young. We find out that Fantana is only 25. So I'm like, I don't know how you the queen of dance hall and you only 25. Like, you just got here. But Diamond supposedly didn't want Andile to be at the party that he's having, but didn't tell nobody that he didn't want Andile to be there. So everyone is just kind of like, well, he got invited. Naked's like, well, I invited him, so he coming. So it's Diamond's party. I don't know why they had that man who was like the Tin Man with all the reflectives hitting the robot in the corner. I was like, I hope they paid you well, because you're not really doing nothing. But we see Zuri pop up at the house. She looks nice. Diamond is pressed about this Andile situation, and Zuri is loving it. She is enjoying that Diamond is in his feels, in his fifis about Andile popping up at the house on last season to be like, yo, I'm talking game to your girl. We then see Kaylee and Nadia pop up. We then see Nadia, and, we had that issue with Nadia and Zuri because Diamond was trying to talk to Nadia, but Nadia let that go because Nadia said, I don't have time for that. It was awkward, but it was also kind of cute at the same time because they were talking at the same time. But you can tell that neither Nadia or Zuri want beef. They do not want beef. Like, they're just kind of like, we in good places. Like, I'm dating, you happy, I'm happy. Kumbaya. So Kaylee brings up Andile, and Diamond got an attitude with her, which I was like, I did not like, because I'm like, she's allowed to ask questions, and just because you and your feelings about him, that's on you. And Diamond's like, he not coming, and Kaylee is like, that's not what my man said. Because I think he coming, bro. I think he's coming. So Nadia's like, well, let me pop this bubble. He coming. We had a talk. He coming. Just deal with it, bro. He coming. So Akani and Annie show up. Akani gives Zuri some she gave her the church hug pat, and Zuri felt it. Annie didn't even acknowledge Akani. Like, she walked right beside her, but she said hey to everybody, but she didn't go around hugging everyone. I thought Annie was doing too much at that table, because Akani was like, girl, if you don't come up in here and get some food and sit down, because Annie was like, I can't be like, I can't, the vibe, meaning Zuri, like, she don't really want to be in there with her. And I'm like, Annie, you doing too much, especially when they came down to sit and eat dinner. Annie gonna drag, because the last remaining seat was by Zuri, and Annie didn't want to sit by Zuri. So she grabbed her seat and drags it across the floor. I'd have been annoyed, because I'd be like, girl, don't be messing up my floors. And I was like, it's not that deep, Annie. It is not that deep. And Akani is wrong, because Akani could have sat by Zuri and paid Zuri dust, but Akani didn't want to sit by Zuri either. So then all of a sudden, Swanky pops up. Swanky walks around the table, greets everybody. He sees Annie and turns And Kaylee was like, oh. And Nadia even was like, ooh. Everybody at the table was like, damn, bro. I was like, ooh, that's disrespectful. You disrespectful. And then it got very awkward. It got so awkward because everyone at the table is just like, dang. Dang. So the group breaks up. You end up seeing Nadia, Akani, and Annie go outside. You know, they going outside. Really, Akani took Nadia out because she know Nadia. Because Nadia was going to start asking questions and wanting to know what's up after that display. And Akani was like, girl, just swiping like. You don't even need to know what's going on. And so Nadia was like, you really brought me over here because you knew I was going to say something. And Akani was like, yeah, girl, I know you. And she's like, dang. And Nadia was just kind of like, do you know what's going on? And Akani said, no, I don't. No, I wish I did, but I don't know, girl. So just swiping like. So at the table, you got Kaylee, Zuri, Diamond, and Swanky, and they're just kind of like, what was that, bro? And Swanky's like, I'm not doing the fake stuff. I'm not about to like talk to her. I don't really want to talk to her. We not cool like that. I don't really see it for her right now. So next thing you know, Naked and Andile show up. Kaylee is like, you know, happy to see her man. Andile ain't really ready to speak to Diamond because he's just like, he uncomfortable. Naked can see the energy is like off because he's like, why is the group like broken up? Like, why is everyone not like sitting at the table or sitting in the same room together? Then Andile and Diamond start talking, but they just throwing like Diamond is just throwing shade at Andile, like, And he felt some type of way because when they walked in and hugged, Zuri hugged him, but he tried to say that Andile was being disrespectful. And I'm like, no, he wasn't. Because Zuri was the one that was holding him tight. Like, he hugged her, but she embraced. Like, she wanted that hug. So, next thing you know, all of a sudden, you see Akani, Nadia, and Annie get up and leave as Swanky leaves. And then Swanky brings in Bonang, and Akani like feels like she needs to make sure Nadia is okay, because it's like, why would you bring someone you know your friend hasn't been cool with for years to a party knowing good and well she probably like they haven't talked, they haven't hashed anything out. I want to make sure Nadia is okay. So everyone's like, you know, Bonang is the queen bee. We find out that Naked and Bonang have known each other for 10 years and they like have a vibe. Akani don't really like Bonang because she was like, I can't figure her out. And when I can't figure you out, I distance myself from you. So she's like, yeah, I don't know that lady. Then Annie and Swanky kind of get into it because Swanky sits where Annie was sitting and I guess her purse and her belongings were there. But Swanky paid her dust and did not move. Man was like the Iron Giant. He was unmoved. He looked at her like, I'm not moving. So then Annie was like, I'm not even about to argue with no peasant. So she sits down, grabs her stuff, and then she just feels like, you know what? I don't even want to be here no more. I'm an adult. I can leave. So then the group breaks up again, and you have Akani, Annie, Nadia, and Andile. And Akani's like, Andile is like, why does the group keep breaking up? And Akani was like, man, this party weird as it is. Just let everybody have a moment. Let everybody, you know, like vibe it out, bro. We don't got to be together. But but Annie, at that moment, Annie decides to leave. Like, she was like, she don't want to be here no more. She don't like the vibe. She gonna go home. She said, I'm a grown woman. If I don't want to be somewhere, I'm leaving. We then see Naked bring in Fantana. And like I said, she's 25 and she's like a dance hall Ghanaian like singer. But like I told y'all, the people on TikTok said, we don't know her. Who is she? But Andile and Diamond get into it again after Fantana and Bonang are introduced to, like, you know, to the group. And Andile's like, man, I'm leaving. And Diamond makes some slick comment about his like outfit, talking about, you know, you my brother, my mentor, my role model, you know. Nice. Like he was annoyed. And then Delay's like, I'm an adult. I don't gotta be here. I'm out. So he leaves. So then you got Fantana and Bonang trying to figure out like why the vibe in this group is so like awkward and like chaotic. They just like, what's going on with this? And nobody's really like answering it. And then people ask Swanky about his issues with Annie. Fantana is the one that's like really pressing the issue about his issues with Annie. But Swanky is like, you know what? Out of respect for the friendship that we have, I'm not gonna tell you what happened between us. I'm just not like, let me like until me and her have a conversation, y'all don't really need to know about the beef that is brewing between us. Let's get to episode 2. So episode 2, it opens up and we see like a lunch date with Kylie, Annie, and Akani. And so Akani is like, that party was fake. I ain't like the vibes. And I just want to know, I'm not the only one who didn't feel that way. So she brings Kaylee, because she was like, Kaylee gonna tell the truth. Whether like she gonna be a straight shooter and tell the truth. So Kaylee sits down at the table with them. Andy comes late and they sit down and they start to talk, and Connie's like, the party felt weird, like it felt fake and the vibes were off. And Kylie is like, yeah, I felt that too, girl. I felt it too. And then Kylie brings up about Annie and Swanky not speaking to each other, and Andy gets immediately defensive, and Akani is looking at Annie like, okay, girl, okay, sis, okay, sis. Because Annie's in her confessional time, I don't have to explain myself to nobody. And I'm like, no one is asking you to, like, really explain yourself. It's just kind of like, if you would tell us why y'all not cool, maybe we could understand what's going on, because y'all fudging up the vibes. Y'all are fudging up the vibes. So we then see Nadia and Swanky meet up. Swanky is mad at Nadia and Akani for leaving when he was trying to introduce Bonang to the group at Diamond's party. And Nadia's like, me and her are not friends. I didn't even know that she was coming into the party because you didn't tell me. Connie pulled me outside so we could have a private conversation. But like, either way, that's not my friend. So I would not care to see that lady. And y'all know, like, friendship breakups are horrible. They are horrible. Like, I've been through one. Ain't never cried like that over no man. Ain't never cried like that over no man. Friendship breakups are bad. So, like, she's like, yeah, we stopped being friends. So then Nadia pivots the conversation back onto the Annie and Swanky drama. Side note, Swanky's apartment is nice. If that's his place, that's a nice place. It's a nice view, was nice. Decor was nice. It's a nice place. So Nadia's like, what's up with you and Annie? And again, Swanky does not tell us what was up with him and Annie. He just pretty much is like, you know, she did something to me that was like she attacked my character. She tried to destroy my brand, like something I built so hard for. Like, I can't, but I'm like, I'm ready to have a conversation with her. Like, I want her to feel my pain. I want her to feel my energy. And so Nadia was like, would you be open to having having us like facilitate a conversation between y'all? And he was like, yeah, it's cool. It's whatever. So we then see Diamond and Fantana in the studio. I ain't like it. It was so cringy, creepy, and uncomfortable. Like, they're in the studio. All he can talk about is her body. Then in his confessional, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because I know English is probably not his first language. But when he said, I manipulate women first, or I manipulate you first, and then, you know, I get you to believe that I'm a good guy. It gave Stevie J vibes. Like, this whole thing was like Stevie J and Jocelyn Hernandez. Like, it gave that, like, pimp ho vibes, and I ain't like it. I was like, ugh. And then when he started talking about like sex with her, and then he started talking about when he started talking about squirting, I said, oh, I'm done. And like, I don't know if it was like, I couldn't, like, you could tell that Fantana was like into it, but I'm like, girl, this is not how we move. You're not supposed to move this way. We not supposed to move this way. No, I don't like it. It was just creepy. It's creepy. So then we have a scene with Akani and Nadia, like, you know, meeting up to have like lunch with each other, and they talk about Swanky and Bonang. And Nadia tells Akani that Swanky mad at her about the Bonang situation. They bring up like twins, saying how like that's basically what Swanky and Annie were. Like, they were always together. They're like twins. Then we end up finding out that Annie went back to Nigeria and didn't tell nobody, and that rubbed Akani the wrong way. Like, how you gonna leave and you didn't tell anybody? Like, you didn't tell anyone about it, like nobody about it. And then Akani tells Nadia about the beef, not the beef, but like the rumor that's going around. And I remember when people were talking about this online, where supposedly Tubaba impregnated it. impregnated a Nigerian banker, and this would be the sixth baby he has like on Annie. And you got Nadia being like, oh God, like say it ain't true. Say it ain't true. And then Akani's like, you know what? I want to plan a get together with everyone because we need to like get with the like we got to stop with the fakeness. We then end up meeting this dude named Lewis. He has like a fashion brand. I think they say he's from Namibia. He ain't like the fact that Nadia called him an extra because supposedly he was supposed to be styling her for an event, but he couldn't do it, and then he was in her music video. But I don't know, something about Lewis gives like insecure vibes. Like I feel like he's trying too hard and he doesn't. Like he's a very attractive man. Side note, I did not see what y'all saw in Andile last season, but these first two episodes I said, okay, he kind of fine. I see it. Like I thought he was like a handsome, but the way the girls was like, oh, he's so fine, I didn't see it. But like in these two episodes I said, okay, I see, that's a fine man. It's a fine man. Okay. So like I said, Lewis shows up. We end up finding out that like Lewis and Diamond got like beef because Lewis dated one of Diamond's exes, and then one of Lewis's friends took the ex away from Lewis, and everybody was making fun of Lewis for losing the girl to his friend. I was like, okay. We then see Swanky reaching out to Annie because after reading the like article, he's just like, oh my God, this ain't right. You can hear like he's like sad because he really cares for her. He's like, he knows if this is true that it like would devastate her. So he's just kind of like really concerned about her. So he sends like, I guess a voice note or an email, not an email, voice note or a voicemail to her. We then have Andile and Diamond meet up. And Diamond is looking at Andile like, why did you go for Zuri? That's the mother of my kids. And here's my thing, and I even said this on Twitter. I get Diamond's frustrations because it's like, why would my friend want to date my, my baby mama, my ex-girl? But it's also like, Diamond, you're a whore. So can you really have anything to say when you be out here spreading it open and laying it wide? Can you? Now you want to have a moral compass when it comes to like who could be around your kids when you... that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me because Andile was kind of making points. But for me, this like the whole conversation felt ego driven. Like it really felt like Diamond's ego got hurt more than him like caring about Zuri or his family. Because his thing is like he doesn't believe that Andile is really like the guy he says he is, because Andile is suave. He kind of gives like Bruce Wayne kind of tease, but we know Andile is a F-boy. We know he is, but he's just a nicer one compared to Diamond and them. And Diamond don't like him, and Diamond don't really want him around his kids like that. But they said they was gonna be brothers, and Andile said he gonna back up off of Zarya because he knew he crossed the line. We then see Fantana and Swanky meet up. And, Swanky better basically told Fantana, like, do not get caught up with Diamond. Do not get caught up with Diamond. Like, he liked to flirt a lot. He liked to mess around a lot. He liked to smash anything with a vagina. Don't get caught up with him. She over here, like, and see, Fantana had too much dip on her chip when she started talking about Zuri and Diamond's relationship, because I agree it is kind of weird. Like, I would not want to be attached to either one of them, especially because it doesn't seem like Zuri or Diamond have really worked out the kinks in their relationship as them not being together but being co-parents. And like Zuri had too much, not Zuri, but Fantana to me had too much like mouth. Like, it's like, yeah, girl, you don't know their relationship. Granted, it is annoying for them to constantly say like she's the mother of my kids or he's the mother of my father, but why does that matter to you? And you need to leave that man alone. Leave that man alone. So we then have a scene with Naked, Andile, and Diamond in the gym. So they're all working out together. Naked is just happy that his friends are friends. Like, he did a group hug. He was just happy that his boys was back together. They then start talking about Fantana, talking about, and like, Andile was like, you don't want to get to know her. And that's when I told y'all, Naked in this word dig. Naked was like, you can't dictate. It's like, it's dictate versus dictates. I said Naked. What? Then they start talking about Tubaba and the whole baby might be, him might possibly having a baby. Diamond is like, I hope it's not true. Maybe it's not true. And then Andile is like, we just got to be there and support Annie. We then see Annie in the car, and she's on FaceTime with Innocence, and they're on the phone talking. And they over here laughing at how they were like, the story's fake, it's not real. Annie ends up listening to the voicemail that Swanky sent her, and she's not impressed, but I felt like that was nice. Like, y'all are not on speaking terms right now, but he heard bad news about you, and he wanted to make sure you were okay. Annie is like, what I feel like, she's in like stage 4 or 5 of being a delusional wife or / girlfriend, where for a fact your man is a dog. For a fact your man has disrespected you and dogged you out and has put you under emotional stress and damn near abuse. And everyone has seen it. Everyone knows about it. It's in all the blogs, but you're mad. Now all of a sudden you're mad at your friends because they believe it. And it's like, your man has not proven to be somebody who is worthy of people's like, what's the word? Worthy of getting the benefit of the doubt. Like, he's not. He's done it 5 times and possibly 6 at this point. So the fact that she now has this mentality as us against the world, I've seen it. I've seen it so many times before, where women will be with trash ass men, and then in the beginning, they'll be like crying on your shoulder and wanting you to be there. But then all of a sudden they get to the point where it's like they get delusional and they start to think that it's like him, like Bonnie and Clyde type energy, where it's like us against the world, us against your family or your friends. It's weird. It's weird. So Akani has a champagne and mystery party. Everybody comes to the party, and Dile is there. Zuri walks in, and Dile says, hello, ma'am. That rubs her the wrong way. She was like, ma'am. So then she's like, hello, sir. And Dile basically tells her that, like, I talked to Diamond and I'm just trying to like figure this out. Like, we should just be friends. And she don't want to be friends. So Zuri's like, did you really just friend zone me? She feels disrespected. So then Zuri is getting upset. You then see Diamond walk in, and he's upset that he sees Andile and Zuri talking. Naked is trying to get them to not talk, but Zuri's like, first of all, me and him ain't doing nothing wrong. So I don't even know what this is about. Like, get away from me, Naked. Get away from me. So Annie walks in. She talking about some song that Innocent or Tubaba got that's called Frenemies. And I said, your husband is your enemy, ma'am. Your husband is your enemy. So Akani is upset when she sees Annie, because she was like, you left the country and you didn't tell nobody. Like, you left the country and you didn't tell anybody. You could have just texted me and be like, hey, I went back home, or I'm home. But I'm finding out from other people that you just left the country. So Akani didn't invite Bonang. Lewis comes in. So supposedly Akani was supposed to do this huge speech, and Lewis was supposed to come in once everybody was getting like really riled up after she did her speech, but he came in too early, even though he missed his mark. So it was just very awkward, and they weren't getting anywhere because everyone was like, who is this man? It was so awkward. I felt bad for Lewis. I ain't gonna lie. And then all of a sudden, Akani like takes over Lewis's toast, and she basically tells Diamond and Andile, F you for making this group feel so weird. And then she says it to Annie and Swanky, F you. And then Andile felt mad disrespected. He was like, oh, I know you didn't speak to me like that. So he got up because he was like, Connie need to be checked, because you're not going to be treating me in kind of disrespectful way. You just not going to do it. No. So he ends up like checking her. It starts the conversation, but like it ends on episode 2 right there, where he's about to like go off on her. But Connie in her confession was like, I wanted like to kick up the dirt so we could really like expose what's going on, and I did what I needed to do. And she is so proud of herself. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic, and hop down in the comments below. Deuces.